Okay, so again, good morning and welcome to the summer enrichment classes. My name is Rozina and I will be your instructor. Uh, so I'm hoping everybody is ready. If there are any issues with your speakers, if you're not able to hear me, make sure you adjust your speakers. Sometimes you can just restart again and it should work. Uh, Today we are going to actually do a review class. So we did have some of the classes where we covered a few topics in the last year. So we are going to review those topics today. So today we will be going through some of these topics. Counting. We all are doing counting. So maybe a little bit of fun with counting. We will also be looking at shapes and transformations. And probably some of the words might be new to you, like transformation. So if there are different shapes, if you turn that shape, if you rotate it, what would it transform into? Some kind of fun with shapes. That's what we will be doing. Also, again, addition, subtraction, shapes and perspectives, and logic. Now, logic is something wherein you are something which I would emphasize is when you will be reading your question carefully in order to get the logic of it. So we will be going through some of these questions. Now, as I mentioned, this level 2A class was run in 2014, and so it's not a prerequisite for level B classes, which we are going to begin. However, if there is interest for 2A class, then we might offer it again in fall 2015. But today, we will be reviewing. Now, if you want to note down the dates for the level 2B topics, on July 25th, that is next Saturday, we will be going through some of the questions on the topic of patterns and relations. Oh, I see some message saying can't hear properly. Okay. What I would suggest you is to just make sure that your speakers are all turned on. And if it still doesn't work, just restart the session. How about the others? Are you able to hear me? So if you're able to hear me, just please write yes. Excellent. Okay, if you feel that it is not clear enough, I would say that adjust your speakers and make sure that your volume is turned on. Okay, so perfect. I'm hoping everybody's speakers are turned on properly and you're able to hear me. Okay, so let's just go through the dates. 25th of July, we will have patterns and relations. August 1st, geometry with sticks. August 8th, comparisons. 15th August will be solving simple equations. And 29th August, we will be having following instructions, algorithms. Now, a couple of reminders, gentle reminders. So some of the rules which we would like you to follow. And the reason why we have these rules is because we want to make sure that you have a great learning experience. So rule number 1, the answers to the questions should be entered in the poll provided and not in the chat box. Now, what that means is that soon I will be showing you a slide with a question, and I'm sure you will be all very excited to share your answers. But what I would recommend is, please do not write your answers in the chat box, but I will have a poll open on the right hand side of your screen, on the top of the screen. So you could write your answers in the poll when the poll is ready. So if you can see my pointer, that's where your poll will be open after each question. And I advise you to answer in the poll and not in the chat box. That is rule number 1. And rule number 2 is the chat box, which you have been using very appropriately. Perfect. Keep on using it appropriately, but not only of your personal talks. So, and I'm sure you're going to be all awesome. So that's wonderful. And I hope everybody's clear with the session rules. And if everybody's okay, we can begin today's session. Now, as I mentioned today, we will be going through some of these questions. So, sorry, I'm just going to show you some of these topics again. Shapes and transformations, addition and subtraction, shapes and perspectives, and logic. Now, a couple of suggestions. As far as shapes and transformations goes, whenever those questions are there, I would recommend you to visualize those shapes. And if you have a cube or so a Rubik's cube, you can just take it with you. That way you will be able to have hands-on experience of using those shapes. The best thing to do is to visualize it, to rotate it, and to see that what change it could bring to the shape. As far as addition and subtraction goes, I would suggest you to read the question carefully. For shapes and perspectives, yes, we will be doing some 3D structures. We will be seeing some of those 3D structures open. So folding and unfolding of those 3D structures. And last is logic, which requires good reading comprehension. So please do not rush to read your question. Read your question carefully. So everybody is already excited for the first question? I am going to, excellent, awesome. So I like your spirit, guys. We are going to begin with the first question. And remember, you will be answering in the poll. So here comes your first question. How many pairs of shoes are there? Now, you have option A is 9, B 8, C 5, D 4, and E 3. I see some of you have already started using polls. Excellent. Take your time. I'll give you maybe 40 to 50 seconds for this question, since it seems to be a simple question. How many pairs of shoes are there? So when your answer is ready, make sure you enter your answer in the poll. You have different options, A, B, C, D, E. Excellent. So I see most of you have already answered your question. So I will be ending the poll right now, and we will go through the solution. And excellent job. Most of you have got the right answer. Now, first and foremost, what is a pair? So a pair is when two similar or identical things are matched for use together. For example, a pair of earrings or a pair of gloves. In the same manner, we have a pair of shoes over here, wherein we need, now in case of shoes, we need a left shoe and a right shoe. That is important over here. So herein, if you look over here, we have a black left and a right shoe. I'm sure you all saw that. Black left and right shoe. Then you have a red left and right shoe. You have a green left and right shoe. If you can see, this is the green one. And then you have a yellow left and right shoe. One shoe is without pair. If you see, this one is without a pair where my green arrow is pointing. And that is the reason there are total 4 pairs and your answer is D4. So most of you got the answer correct. Excellent job. We will be moving on to the next question. Wonderful job, guys. Here comes your next question. Now read the question carefully and look at the figure carefully. The question is, how many rectangles are visible in the figure? Now, you have to see this carefully. You know what is a rectangle? Rectangle is a shape wherein two opposite sides are equal. Look carefully, and once you're ready, you will be answering your answer in the poll. Look at the figure carefully and figure out how many rectangles are there. You want to make sure that you figure out all the rectangles. So in your paper, if you want to draw this figure, and whichever rectangles you find, you might just want to draw those rectangles, and that way it will be easy for you to count those rectangles. And I see that you guys are working really hard. Maybe I'll give you a couple of more seconds. Those who have already answered, I just want you to look at the rectangle closely again, just to make sure that you haven't missed any of those hidden rectangles in this bigger figure. Okay, so I will be ending the poll. I know that not everybody has answered the question, but you know what? You will be receiving the recording of this whole session. So at that point of time, you could pause at each question and you could solve again. That way, you'll have enough time. Today, just because we want to make sure we cover as many questions as possible, I will be ending the poll over here right now, and we will look through the solution. But awesome job, guys. You have been working really hard. So let's look at how many rectangles are visible in the figure. Now, this is our figure, and as we know that a rectangle is wherein the opposite sides are equal. Now we're going to start with the small rectangle which we see over here. You see my green arrow? Yes. So that's what are the small rectangles, and we have those small rectangles, 6 of them. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you can see the 6 triangles, the rectangles, the small ones. Okay. Now we also have this rectangle. If you look at my arrow, I'm just going to point this arrow. When you look at the outer side of this one, where my arrow is pointing, that's another rectangle. And we have 4 of these rectangles. Now we're going to look at another rectangle. If you look at this one, the shape which I have it over here now, that is another rectangle. So if you just take out this particular line, then you have 3 bigger rectangles. Also, you see this rectangle, now I'm just going to show you with my green arrow. So if I combine these two rectangles, then I have the shape of the bigger rectangle, which is over here. So if you combine, let's say, these two shapes, you get this rectangle. And we have these rectangles, two of those. Also, if you see this particular shape which I have over here, that is again a rectangle. And we have two of those rectangles. If you are not able to see that rectangle, please let me know. But I'm just going to point with my green arrow over here. So I'm just going to show you, that's the shape which I'm showing you over here. That's another two rectangles. And finally, I have the bigger rectangle. That is the outer rectangle. That is another rectangle. So in total, we have 18 rectangles. Isn't it awesome that you have 18 rectangles in it? So the answer is E18. Yes, and that's what, when we are looking at these shapes, we will try and figure out what are the hidden shapes over here. So if, you were almost there, I know some of you gave me the answer 13, and that's okay, you're trying really hard. And I'm sure now that you looked at the solution, if there is any other kind of these question, you will be able to solve it. So is everybody okay? Shall I move to the next question? If there are any concerns, doubts, please let me know. Excellent. Now you got it, Wenjia. I'm glad you got this. Perfect. We are going to move on to the next question now. Guys, awesome job. Question number 3. Excellent, Dorothy. Okay, so question 3 is right here. Find the missing part of the house. Now you have this house over here, and you have these options A, B, C, D, E. What do you think? Which shape would fit over here? This is the missing part of the house. Which shape would fit there? Now I just want to make a small suggestion that whenever you are looking at the shapes, try to rotate these shapes also, because we are learning about rotation, the transformation of these shapes. So have fun finding the answer. I will get the poll ready for you. Whoa, the answer is like, I can see that most of you have given the answer in the poll. Some of you are still working. But since most of you have given the answer, I am going to end the poll here and we will look through the solution. Excellent job. Most of you, well, all of you have answered in the poll, have got the right answer. So if we look at this particular house, okay, let's go through the solution. This is the house. And we are looking at a shape which would fit over here. Now, if you see, I'm just going to take one slide back so that you can see all of these shapes. You need a shape which has got a curve over here to fit over here, and at the same time, a straight line on the other side. So, what we would do is, if we see a figure which is kind of similar to what our requirement is, we would try to rotate that shape and try to fit it. So over here, the shape A, if it is rotated, would fit here. And I'll just show you this. If you see over here, I have rotated it over here, and this is what we get from figure A. So your answer is A. And most of you actually tried and got the answer correct. So this seemed to be kind of an easy one, which is awesome. So we can move on to the next question now, question number 4. Okay, let's go. This is our 4th question. If you fold the cutout on the right, if you see on the right, this is where my arrow is pointing, which cubes can you make? Now, this particular template is of an unfolded cube. I'm sure you all must be playing with cubes, the Rubik's Cube, a 3D shape. Now, when you open this cube, you get this template. When you fold this particular template, when you fold this, which cube would you get? Is it A, is it B, C, D, or E? Think about it, try to visualize it, and have fun finding the answer. I know you guys are working hard for this one. What I would recommend you for this one is to eliminate the answers which are not possible. So to shortlist it and then to find the answer. And some of these questions I know that you might not have done earlier. So it might be the first time. So I'm sure once we go through these questions, it's going to be really easy for you. Okay, so a couple of more seconds and we will look through the solution. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll over here and let's look through the solution. Now, as I mentioned, in order to solve these kind of questions, one of the good approaches is to eliminate the answer which you feel are not going to be correct. Now, let's look at the shape. If you look at this shape, if we are, when we fold this shape, these two shaded squares are going to come on the same surface. So these two shapes, you can see my green arrow, they are going to be coming on the same surface. So wherever, if you see in the figure A, it's on the same surface, B, not in the same surface, C in the same surface, D, you don't see the same surface. Wherever you see that these two squares are not in the same surface, you can eliminate that from your answer. So, I'm just going to open the solution. When we fold the cutout, the shaded squares will come on the same surface. So, B and C, well, C is also on the same surface, actually over here, but probably it should be on the opposite sides. So, B and C are not possible. Another thing if you see over here is the dark square. So this dark square should be on the opposite side of the shaded squares. So if you look at the answer A does have the shaded shape on the same surface. However, the dark surface is not on the opposite side. So A is also not an option. Now D is also not possible, of course, because it will not have the shaded square and the dark square on the opposite side. So if you see over here, it's only two sides which we are not able to see. And if the two sides will have the dark shade and these two small squares, then they are not on the opposite sides. So D cannot be the option. So the last option which remains over here is the option E, wherein if you see over here in the E, where you see my pointer, the two small squares are on the same surface and the opposite surface will be having the dark square. So the answer is E. And I know that this is kind of a little bit tricky. It will take a little time. And what I would recommend is when you get the recording of this session, maybe take a pause and go through it. Okay, awesome. I'm glad, Wenja, you got it now. So perfect. We, in these kind of questions, is a lot of visualizing and just thinking as to where exactly the surface is going to fall on. So a good approach for these questions is to eliminate the wrong answers. Are you guys okay? Shall we move to the next question? Question number 5. If everybody is okay with the solution, I'm going to move on to the next question. Awesome. So perfect. I will be moving on to the next question. Here comes your next question. A ladybug fluttered onto a correctly solved math problem. What number is the ladybug covering? Now, this is called an equation. You see over here, 5 plus 11 equals 20 minus, there's a number where our ladybug is sitting. So you need to figure out what is that number. Your options you have. This is going to be kind of a little bit easy for you, I'm hoping. This is an equation. We will be talking about equation soon. So for now, I just want you to work on this question. And I will have your code ready for you. Awesome. This is very easy. That's great. Awesome. So yes, I see that most of you are almost there. Some of you are working. Maybe a few more seconds. Okay. So I know some of you find this question easy, and that's great. But even if you don't find it easy, don't worry. It is what we will be working on it, and through practice, I'm sure you will get it. So I'll end the poll over here, and we will look through the solution of this question. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure that those of you who are still working, please do not worry. When you get the recording, you could always pause and take your own sweet time. It's just that we want to make sure that we cover as many questions as possible. Okay, so this is our equation. I'm just going to talk a little bit about equation. Equation is wherein you have two sides. So if you see, this is 5 plus 11. And here you have 20 minus, there's a number which is covered. Now, this is your equal to sign. So, when you have this equal to sign, it is like a balanced scale, which is balanced, a scale which is balanced. So, your left-hand side should be exactly equal to your right-hand side. That is called an equation. So, if you are able to find the answer on one side, then the other side, you will be able to figure out very easily. So, I hope that you are all okay with equation. You are now getting what is an equation. So let's look at the side wherein we have both the numbers. So 5 plus 11 equals 16. Now, Since it's an equation, both the sides should be equal. Whatever number is hidden behind this ladybug should be such number so that the answer should be 16. So 20 take away what gives you 16. You can use different strategies to find your answer. Maybe you want to count backwards from 20, or you could count upwards from 16 to 20. And yes, 20 minus 4 equals 16. Okay, so your answer over here is D4. So excellent. Yes, your teacher taught this, and that's great. And I am glad that you remember that. So this is equation, and equation. So solving equation is fun, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next question, and the next question is going to be also fun for you. I'm just going to go to the next question so that you can see this. Okay, here, let's understand the question first. It says, put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the boxes so that everything is correct. Now, I'm just going to show you over here with my pointer. This is my square plus square. Then you see there is an arrow over here which is pointing downwards. So, whatever answer you get, you are actually taking it over here, wherever your question mark is. Whatever answer you get, minus a number. Again, there's an arrow pointing downwards, and you get the final answer. Now, the rule is that you are supposed to use these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make sure you put these numbers correctly so that it satisfies the the operation which has been given over here, plus, minus, and then the arrow. So, which number goes into the box marked with the question mark? This is the one which we are looking for. What do you think will go in this? Now, I see over here E is 5. I don't know how this another 5 has come over here, but it's only one 5. It's not a 55. Just to make a note of it, your first A1, B2, C3, D4, and E5. So try to figure out this answer. I'm going to give you probably a little bit more time for this one, but have fun finding it. And once you have it, please make sure you write in the book. You might have to move around your numbers while you're working on it. So maybe try using the numbers from 1 to 5 in different spots. Good job. Many of you have solved this, which is great. It's like a mini Sudoku. Good. So I am able to see that many of you have answered. Maybe a couple of more seconds. Okay, so we will end the poll over here and we will look through the solution. Okay, so over here, if you see that the figure over here is wherein you have to make sure that the numbers are sufficing the operations and the arrows. So no matter what we do with the other numbers, but as far as the top two squares go, it has to have 2 and 3. Because if you put 2 over here and 3 over here, you will get 5 over here. Now, when you have 5 over here, then you can use either 5 minus 4 equals 1, or you can use 5 minus 1 equal 4. So I'm just going to show you the solution again one more time. So the possible arrangement of the digits so that the given operations work always involve 2 and 3 on the top, giving 5 into the box marked with the question mark. So this is what, when you look at the figure, 2 and 3 comes on the top. So the question mark is going to be 5. And yes, these two squares interchangeably can have either 1 or 4. So your answer is going to be E5. So good job, Arya. Yes, and that is what your answer is, E5. And many of you got the answer correct. Even if you did not get the answer correct, I'm sure when you look at the solution now, you will be able to understand it. Okay, so here I have Anja said, I did 4 and 1 on the top. Excellent. Yes, and that is also possible. You're right. I'm glad, Anja, that you thought that way. So that is also a very good way to think that yes, 4 and 1 can go on the top. And either way, you will have over here 5, and you can have 5 minus 2 equals 3, and 5 minus 3 equals 2. So thank you, Anja. That's again a very good approach. And either way, the answer is going to be 5. Yes, E said 5, 5, and I did mention that the E is 5. It was not 5, 5. So that is kind of a typo over there. So E is 5, and your answer is 5. So guess to 3, that's what it is. It's a typo, but it is 5. So I hope that you had fun doing this, and you now understood. Those of you who have already done it, great job. These are some really good questions to see the flow, like a flow chart it goes, and you're solving the question. So I hope everybody is okay with that. And if everybody is okay and if there are no concerns, we can move on to the next question. So if everybody is okay, unless somebody has any question around this, please feel free to write in the chat and I can help you understand it. But if you have understood, then we can move on. So now I'm glad that Anja bought this at 4 and 1 on the top. So herein we can have you can have 2 or 3, 2 and 3, or you can have 4 and 1. So that's a very good approach also. Okay, so if no concerns, let's move on to question number 7. Are you all excited and are you all having fun? I hope you're having fun doing these questions. Great, wonderful. Math is always fun, right? Great job. Okay, here comes your next question. Dawn made 2 bricks by sticking cubes together as shown below. Now, these are the 2 bricks which he made, sticking 2 cubes. Now, which structure could not be built using the 2 bricks? Now, if you use both of these 2 bricks, you have A, B, C, D, E. Which structure cannot be built? So you need to figure out which structures could be built, and that is what is something which is excluded from our answer. Which structure could not be built is the question. So try figuring out. I will be opening the poll. Oh, Dorothy, you cannot see the problem. Are you able to see it now? Now, if you have any difficulty wherein your screen goes blank, you could restart the session, and that way, sometimes it does that, or with technical glitches. I hope you are able to see the screen now. So, Dorothy, if you are still not able to see the problem or the slide, you can restart your session again. How about that? Okay. So I hope Dorothy is able to see the screen now. The rest of you are able to see the screen, I'm hoping, because I can see that most of you have already answered in the poll. Some of you are still working on it. And yes, it is easy once you understand it, that's great. So try to figure out which structure could not be built. Maybe a couple of more seconds we can have over here, and then we can look through the solution. Excellent. So guess 4, you remember it, Arya, from last year, which is great. Yes, we did all of these questions, and this is a review session. So I'm glad that you remember it from last year. Wonderful. Okay, so let's end the poll over here, and we can look through the solution. Okay, so here we have our two bricks which Don made using 2 cubes. Now let's see, you see over here that figure A can be made using these 2 bricks, as we see that you can arrange one brick on this side, vertical, and the other horizontal. C, yes, we can use both of these 2 bricks side by side. It's going to be the C structure. D, when you have the brick laid down horizontally and the other one vertically, D is also possible, and E is again possible by just piling one brick on top of the other. The only option which is not possible is option B, because if you see over here, if you use, let's say, this brick horizontally, then you cannot have these 2 bricks on not on an uneven level. At the same time, if you see over here, if you use this brick where my pointer is showing, and again you will have these 2 cubes apart. So B is not possible using these 2 bricks. Excellent. So the best approach would be to eliminate the structures which you are able to build out of these 2 bricks. So that's a good approach, and we can move on to the next question. And this next question is again going to be a fun question, because it will require you to visualize a lot of stuff over here. So let's go. Question number 8 comes over here. The following 6 shapes were drawn on the 6 walls of a cube. Now, you know that a cube has got 6 sides. So there are these 6 shapes over here, and these 6 shapes were drawn on the 6 walls of the cube. Now, below is what you see if looking at this cube from 2 positions. So this is a cube. Both of these cubes are, of course, same, but they are shown with 2 different positions. Now the question over here is, which shape is opposite to the Canadian Math Kangaroo logo? So this is our logo, What do you think will come on the opposite side of this logo in this cube? So I hope you understood the question. Well, if not, then I recommend you to read the question again carefully. Uh, if you have a cube at home, maybe you can use a cube and maybe you can just put a sticky on it to just see which is the square, which is the star, and rotate the cube to figure out what is the shape opposite to the logo of Canadian Math Kangaroo. So have fun. I will be giving you maybe a little bit of more time for this one, and I'll have the code ready for you. It is a little harder one, yes, but I'm sure with proper understanding, you will be able to get this. Just trying to visualize this cube, and if you have a cube, scrap that cube and try to see these shapes on your cube. Rotate your cube clockwise, counterclockwise, and see what would come opposite to your star, what would come opposite to your square, and to your triangle, and that's how you will be able to get the answer. Maybe a couple of more seconds because I know you guys are working really hard, and we can go through the solution for this one now. Okay, so we're going to end the poll over here just so that I cover as many questions as possible. And even if you did not get it, do not worry because you will get the recording of it and you can take your time. But you know what? Most of you have actually given me the right answer, which is a really good thing. And even if you are not able to find the answer, that's okay. It's a good learning from the solution. So let's look at the solution. Now, we have the figure which is given over here, these two figures. The first figure, if you see, and the second figure, if you see. Try to figure out how the cube is rotated. Now, the first cube has got your triangle on the side, right? But the same cube, when rotated in such a manner that your triangle now is on the top. So the important thing over here is how is it rotated? So the second view is obtained by rotating 90 degrees. So if you rotate this 90 degrees on the x-axis, so this one, now I know that x-axis, y-axis, z-axis is not what you might have done, but just to put in the simple language, if you try to rotate it counterclockwise is the opposite of the side how the clock turns. So it's a counterclockwise. And then again if you turn, so after turning it counterclockwise, and then again if you turn 90 degrees, what you will see that is the blue disc will be actually, this should be on the opposite side of the red square, because now when you turn this over here and then again you rotate it, your red square is going to be on the opposite side of your blue disc. And the brown arrow will be on the opposite side of your star. So when you rotate this over here on this side, the star will be actually going on the opposite side of your arrow. So this leaves us with the green triangle to be on the opposite side from the Math Kangaroo logo. And I know that for me also to explain without the figure in my hand and you not being able to see the 3D figure of rotation, it's a little bit challenging. But what I would recommend you is to grab a cube and try to rotate it and see how you will find the answer for the figure opposite to the Math Kangaroo logo. So the answer is actually figure A, which is the green triangle. That's what is your answer. And actually, sometimes it becomes difficult when you look at the explanation, but when you actually try it with a cube, it becomes really easy and it becomes fun too. So I highly recommend that grab a cube and try to rotate it and figure out the answer. When you get the recording, that way it's going to be fun learning. Okay, so shall I move on to the next question now? Everybody's okay? If there are no concerns, I'm going to move to the next question, question number 9. Okay, wonderful. So here comes your next question. And the question is, 2 mothers and 2 daughters have an afternoon tea party together. What is the smallest possible number of people at that party? Now, think about it. Do not rush to give the answer for this one. Think about it and make sure that you listen and read this word. What is the smallest is the keyword over here, smallest possible number of people at that party? It was 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And whatever answer you get, make sure you have a proper explanation on it. You're not guessing any number. So 2 mothers and 2 daughters. You guys are working hard for this, and I can see that. you know, not that many answers in the poll. Now, it's very sometimes, when you look two mothers and two daughters, right away you're looking at the answer four. But I want you to think harder on this one. Uh, I want you to think outside the box. Think of some other situation wherein uh, there might be two mothers and two daughters without having this simple relationship of two mothers, two daughters. Think about something different. So do not write the answer in the chat box. That's what the rule is. So please make sure we will not answer in the poll. Sorry, in the chat. We will only answer in the poll. Yes, guest for you have given me the answer, but I would highly appreciate you only answering in the poll, right? That way we do not stop anybody's thinking process, and everybody gets their own time to think. That's okay. Thank you, guest for understanding, so that everybody is able to think about it, right? Okay, awesome. So I am going to end the poll over here. And yes, the answer is actually mother, her daughter, and her daughter's daughter. So if you have a grandma and a grandma's daughter and her daughter, so in that case, you will have only three people. But then still we have over here, the relationship is when you have two mothers and two daughters, because the grandmother is the mother of course, the mother of the daughter, and the mother is the mother of the daughter. So there are two mothers and two daughters over here. I hope you understood this solution. If you have any concerns, feel free to write in the chat box. Do not hesitate to ask questions if you do not understand, because I want to make sure that you understand the logic behind it. So if everybody is okay, we can move on to the next question. This question number 10. The time is passing really fast. It's almost going to be an hour. So let's cover as many questions as possible. Here comes our question number 10. Basil attached 5 stickers with the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in some order on a sheet of paper as shown in the figure. If you see over here, you have 5 stickers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. However, you see the stickers are not actually in the same line kind of thing. They are up and down. So the question is, in what order could Basil have put the stickers? So you have different options over here. Try to figure out. Once your answer is ready, go ahead and answer the poll. Meantime, I will have the poll ready. Now, the approach what I would recommend you over here is you can actually um, eliminate those answers which you feel will not work out. So the condition of having 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the line, and which 2 stickers or which 3 stickers would be going first. Try to figure out which stickers do you see having glued first. Okay, so you guys are working hard. I can see that. Think about which two numbers would have been glued first, and if that is something which is not satisfied by an option, then eliminate that option. That way you'll be able to shortlist your answer. Okay, so the question over here is, you have these 5 stickers. The question is, what order do you think Basil would have put the stickers? Now, you see that sticker 2 and sticker 4 must have been put before 1, 3, and 5. I'm giving you a big hint over here that 2 and 4 should have been put before 1, 3, and 5. Now, if you look at this order A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do you think that 2 over here should be going before 1 over here? If that is not what is satisfying the condition, then this is not an answer. Move on to the next one. Are you able to understand the question now? And I know that sometimes when you read the question over here, it might not be so easy to understand, but you see that the sticker over here, number 2 sticker, is below 1 and 3. So if Basil puts sticker 1 first and then sticker 2 first, that could not be possible, because my figure is showing that the 2 has to be glued first and then only 1 and 3 can be glued. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Similarly, you see sticker 4, it has to be glued before 3 and 5 because it is below 3 and 5. So which order could Basil have put the stickers? Okay, what I'll do is I'll end the poll here and I'll walk you through the solution of this. How about that? Okay, that way we'll try to understand this carefully. Now, this is the figure. I'm just going to walk you through the figure. You see over here, number 2. Okay, guest 4 got it. Awesome. Number 2 over here is glued before 1 and 3, right? Similarly, number 4 is glued before 3 and 5. Now, what options we have got over here is the option for A. I'm going to go back a little bit again. The option A over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, option A cannot be possible because 1 cannot be glued before 2 because 2 has been glued first over here. So, option A is not possible, right? Okay. Number 2. Let's see number B. Let's see number B over here. It says 4, 5. Okay, so let's see. Number 4 is glued first, and then number 5 is glued. And then it says number 2. Number 2, number 1, and number 3. So actually, B is satisfying our condition that 2 and 4 has to be glued in such a manner that 2 is put before 1 and 3, and 4 is put before 3 and 5. I'm just going to open this. So, all that the picture shows is that 2 had to be put before 1 and 3, 4 had to be put before 3 and 5. So, the only answer that satisfies these two conditions is D. So, I hope now you are able to understand this. So, if you look over here, B is 4, 5, 2, 1, and 3. I hope you've got the answer and you understood the solution. If you did not, then maybe the fun would be to take some stickers, write the numbers on it, and try it in this way. I think the hands-on would really make it fun and help you to learn. Excellent. So Wendy also got it. Those of you who still did not get it, maybe when you get the recording, pause it, listen to this solution, read through the solution, and I'm sure you will understand. Okay? So let's just move on to the next question now, because we are actually having only around 10-12 more minutes. So I want to cover maybe 5 to 6 more questions if possible. If you won't have much time, I will go through the slides so that it could be recorded and you can receive it. Perfect. Now level 2B, new topics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you the taste of these new topics which we will be doing in the coming weeks. So only one question per topic we will be going through today. So patterns and relations, geometry with sticks, comparisons, solving simple equations, and following instructions. So let's start with the first question, which is based on patterns. Okay, and I'm sure this is going to be super easy for you. It says Betty keeps drawing 3 different figures in the same order. Which figure should be the next? And I know that you have been doing patterns in your grade 2s, grade 3s, since grade 1. So trying to figure out which kind of pattern is this, repeating, increasing, shrinking, which one is this? What do you think should be the next figure? So I will have the poll ready for you. Oh, most of you are able to give me the answer right away. Some of them are working. I will end the poll here because I want to cover more questions. So let's look at this figure. Let's look through the solution. And look at the figure. You see that the first 3 figure is a core of this pattern. You see the figure with hands up, then the straight hands and the hands down. Similarly over here, hands up, hands in the middle. So the next figure should be with hands down. So the core over here, which I have circled over here with this red mark, that is the core, and that will be repeated multiple times. So the answer is D, which is the figure with the hands down. So this was pretty easy, okay? I'm sure everybody understood this. Let's move on to the next question. Joan is building houses of cards. On the picture, there are houses of 1 and 2 stories that John built. How many cards does he need to build a 3-story house? Now, you see over here, this is the 1st-story house, 2nd story, 3rd story. How many cards will he need? Count the number of cards in this 2-story. Try to draw the figure for the 3rd story, and it's going to be super easy for you once you draw it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll end the poll here. So when you get the recording, you can take more time for this one, and I will be going through the solution for this one. So your 3-story house. 3-story house is over here, and let's count the number of cards over here. If you see over here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's in the 1st story. 6 cards for the 1st one, 4 cards for the 2nd one, as you look over here. And for the third one, you have 2 cards. Also, you have these 3 cards over here. 1, where you can see the pointer where I'm pointing, and 3. So you have 6 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3. That is equal to total 15 cards are required. And so your answer is D, 15. And I know that some of you are working on it and you would have got the answer if I would have waited longer. So don't worry, when you get this recording, please feel free to take your own sweet time. We're going to move on to the next question, question number 13. There are 9 identical squares in the figure built with 8 sticks. Now you see over here, there are 8 sticks over here. This is the first stick, the second. So this whole is a stick over here. If you see my arrow, that's a stick. You have 8 sticks over here. Now your question is, what is the minimum number of sticks that must be removed so that exactly 3 squares will remain? Now, note that the remaining squares could be of different sizes. So when you remove a certain number of sticks, you will see only 3 squares. And these 3 squares could be of any size. How many minimum number of sticks should you remove in order to get exactly 3 squares? So think about it, draw the figure if required, and I won't be able to give you a lot of time just because I have only 5 more minutes left and we still have 3 more questions. So try your best. So when we will be doing our 2B sessions, we will have one of the topics as sticks, and you will have fun with moving these sticks. So this is just kind of a taste for those questions, taste of those questions that we will be doing. Okay, so let me end the poll over here, and I know that you're still working on it, but let's go through the solution. Now, if we remove 2 sticks, let's say, if you see in my figure over here, I have removed 1 stick from here, which is the vertical stick, and also the stick which was over here, so the horizontal stick. If I remove these 2 sticks, then how many squares do I have? This is the first square, a second square, and the bigger square. So I will have exactly 3 squares, and that is the reason you just need to remove 2 sticks in order to get your answer, right? So I will be moving to the next question. When you get the recording, feel free to take your own sweet time. Here comes your question number 14. And this is about comparison. So which of the following roots is the longest? Now look at this figure. You're going to tell me which figure has the longest root. And I hope that you can see this line over here, the darker line. That's the root. So that will help you to determine how long is the root. Similarly, you have over here, you can see my green arrow pointing to the dark line. That's your root. Figure out which one is the longest. So when you count these lines, you will be able to get the distance covered by that particular root. And yes, somebody already gave me the answer, and some of you are working, but we will be closing the poll over here. Excellent job. So, one student already gave me the answer. Now, over here, the horizontal and vertical lines are equal. If you see over here where my arrow is pointing, that's the horizontal line, and here is your vertical line. They both are equal. So when we connect it, the two neighboring points, they are at equal length. So when we count, you get the total number of units or the distance which this particular route has covered. And if you add all of these lines, you will find that each route has got 13 length. So A is 13, B 13, again C, D and E also 13. So each figure has total of 13 length. So the answer is E, which is all routes have identical length. Okay, moving on to the next two questions. What I'll do is I will be just going through the slides. I will not be opening the poll. So the next question is simple equations, which is Anne and Betty have 10 sweets, but Betty has 2 more than Anne. How many sweets does Betty have? So I will be going through the slide of the solution. Now, the total sweets are 10. So let's explore what options we could have over here. One of the approaches which we could use is to just pretend that both of them have 5 and 5, equal number of sweets. But in our question it says Betty has 2 more than Anne. So in that case, now if you are able to solve it, you can write your answer in the chat now, just because we are going through the solution right now. So but Betty has 2 more than Anne. So if we take away 1 from 5, then Betty has 6 and Anne has 4 sweets. And so 6 is 2 more than 4. So in that case, Betty has 6 sweets. Now, another approach to do this particular problem is by taking away 1 sweet at a time. So if you see over here, if you start with 9 plus 1 equals 10, you take away 1 from 9 and add it over on the other side. So 8 plus 2 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10, and then 6 plus 4 is 10. So 6 is 2 more than 4, so your answer is C, 6. Okay, moving on to the last question for today. That is question number 16. When the ant starts from home, so this is your home, an ant is starting from here and follows these arrows. So if you see, the arrow pointing to the right side is 3, and then arrow pointing upwards is 3. Again, arrow pointing right is 3 and arrow pointing upward is 1, and you get a ladybug, right? If you follow this arrow, all these arrows. Now your question is, which animal would it come to if it starts from home and follow these arrows? So you have the arrows given over here. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2. I'm just going to open the solution slide. So first you start with your home. So you're going to start from the end with home and you move on 2 slides on the right side. That's what we did. Then 2 sides, 2 arrows downwards. So I'm just following the instructions, following the arrows. Then 3 arrows on the right hand side, 3 on the top, 2 right hand side, and again 2 on the top. And you land on the butterfly. That's where you end up. Now, these are simple ones when you're just following the instructions, following the arrows over here. We will also be doing these kind of questions. So, boys and girls, you have been awesome today. I'm actually very, very proud of you guys. You did great. And I hope that you had a good time today. You had fun doing math. And you learned new things over here today. So next class we will be having on July 25th. That is going to be again on Saturday at the same time. And we will be working through patterns and relations on that day. So yes, I have a question over here. Please let me know any reference book. Well, I would say that I would say that we do have lots of math kangaroo papers from the past years on our website. So when you go to our website and you go through the tab of samples, you will see lots and lots of questions from previous years. And I would say that it's a really good practice. So I hope you had lots of fun. Thank you so much for joining today. Have a wonderful weekend. And I am actually really looking forward to see you all again on July 25th. Have fun learning math. Thank you so much. Take care and bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, so I will end the meeting over here. See you next week.